10 trucks mechanics say will last forever. A truck sits behind a barn in Montana. No plates, flat tires. 6 years since it last ran. The owner turns the key. Second try, it fires. Mechanics see this more often than you'd think. And there's one truck on this list that's been tortured on national television, buried in mud, set on fire, and dropped off a building. It kept starting. We're saving that one for last, and once you hear what it survived, you'll understand why mechanics don't just recommend it. They buy it for themselves. 10 trucks, ranked by the people who actually see engines fail for a living. Let's start at the bottom. Number 10. Chevrolet Silverado 1500 1999 to 2006 5.3-liter Vortec V8. A contractor's Silverado rolls into a shop in Ohio. 315,000 miles. Original engine. The tech pulls the dipstick, expecting sludge. It's clean. That's the reputation the 5.3-liter Vortec built, one oil change at a time. Simple pushrod architecture, forgiving tolerances, nothing exotic to fail. It wasn't flawless. Early years burned oil faster than they should have, and more than a few owners chased what they thought was a leak. Once that was addressed, though, these trucks just kept going. Here's the question worth asking. What happens when a company known for building trucks like this decides towing is the whole point? That's next. Number 9. Ford F-150, 2004 to 2008 5.4-liter Triton V8. For years, the Triton had a bad reputation online. Spark plugs known to snap during removal. A repair nightmare that became a running joke. But that reputation misses the actual story. Delivery fleets, the truck's nobody babies, ran these V8s past 200,000 miles without a major failure. The bottom end was tougher than the internet gave it credit for. The lesson mechanics took from it wasn't about the engine at all. It was that a truck's reputation and a truck's actual durability aren't always the same thing. The next truck earned its reputation with almost no electronics involved at all. Number 8. Dodge Ram 2500, 1994 to 1998, 5.9-liter Cummins 12-valve. Ask a diesel mechanic which engine they'd trust with their own money, and the 12-valve Cummins comes up before you finish the question. It's mechanically injected, no computer standing between the fuel and the cylinder. Farmers ran these for decades without a rebuild. Tow companies wore them into the ground. 500,000-mile examples aren't rumors in diesel circles, they're expected. There's a trade-off: loud, rough riding, and unforgiving if you don't know what you're doing under the hood. Mechanics don't see that as a flaw. To them, a truck you can actually understand is a truck that never truly dies. But one weakness nearly kept this next platform from reaching legendary status. Number 7. Ford F-250/F-350. 1999 to 2003, 7.3-liter Power Stroke. Mention the 7.3-liter Power Stroke in any diesel shop and watch the conversation change. Thick cast iron block, forged internals. An engine mechanics often describe as overbuilt for the era it came from. Here's the twist. The engine wasn't the weak point. Ambulances and fire departments ran this platform specifically because the diesel underneath rarely failed. The transmissions bolted to it in early years struggled to handle the torque. Mechanics learned to upgrade the drivetrain around a heart that refused to quit. Everything so far has been American. That's about to change. Number 6. Toyota Tundra, 2007 to 2021, 5.7-liter I-Force V8. When Toyota built the second-generation Tundra, the goal wasn't just to compete with American full-size trucks, it was to outlast them. Timing chains instead of belts. Tolerances built tighter than they needed to be. It's not rare to find these trucks past 300,000 miles, with nothing more than oil changes. Some owners have documented well past 400,000 without a major engine repair. Compare that to trucks from the same era that needed timing belt replacements every 90,000 miles just to stay safe. And the philosophy becomes obvious. Toyota built the Tundra like it was never supposed to need a major repair. Mostly, it doesn't. That same philosophy is about to show up again, paired with something even more important. Number 5. GMC Sierra 2500 HD, 2001 to 2005, 6.6-liter Duramax LB7/LLY plus Allison transmission. Most drivetrains fail because the engine outgrows the transmission underneath it. This is the rare case where they were engineered together as a matched set. Ranchers hauled cattle trailers daily. Contractors worked these trucks in back-to-back shifts. The pairing held. Early LB7 engines did have an injector wear issue. Mechanics learned to flag early. But once caught, this remains one of the most trusted, heavy-duty combinations of the 2000s. You could argue this belongs higher on the list. Here's the one thing holding it back. Everything above it had to survive with far less engineering help. Number 4. Toyota Tacoma, 1995 to 2004, first generation. Before the Tacoma became an off-road icon, it earned something more useful: the trust of mechanics who watched small trucks refuse to break, no matter how hard they were pushed. Owners have documented these past 300,000 and 400,000 miles on standard maintenance alone. The real threat wasn't the drivetrain, it was rust. Mechanics have a saying about this generation: the frame usually gives up before the engine ever considers it. That's exactly why a 25-year-old Tacoma still sells for more than most people expect. Buyers aren't paying for looks. They're paying for a reputation. Mechanics built one repair order at a time. 3 trucks left, and each one represents a different argument for why simple still beats advanced. Number 3. Ford F-Series, 1980 to 1996, 300 cubic inch inline-six, no turbo, no computer-controlled fuel injection. Just an engine with almost nothing left to fail. Low compression, forgiving tolerances, and a reputation for tolerating neglect most modern engines wouldn't survive one season of. Farm trucks running this 6 are still working fields today, decades after they were built. Kept alive with basic tools and patience, not a diagnostic laptop. This is the truck mechanics' point to when they want to prove a point. The most reliable engine isn't always the most advanced one. Sometimes it's just the one with the fewest ways to break. Number 2. Ford F-150. Classic body, 1987 to 1996, 4.9-liter, inline-6/5.0-liter V8. This is the generation that built Ford tough. Not through a commercial, but through fleets of trucks that simply refused to stop. Utility companies and municipalities ran these for years past the point most trucks get retired, and the pattern was always the same. The engine outlasted the body, the transmission outlasted the paint. Restoration specialists today say finding a rust-free example is genuinely harder than finding one with a tired engine. You could make a real case this truck deserves the top spot. It's tough enough. But there's one machine that took this exact philosophy and tested it somewhere far harsher than an American worksite. Number 1. Toyota Hilux. Global production, multiple generations. Remember the truck from the opening. Buried in mud, set on fire, dropped off a building, left in salt water. That was a Hilux, tested on British television specifically because producers wanted to finally kill one. It kept starting. That's not the only proof. Militaries have driven the Hilux through war zones. Aid organizations use it in regions where a breakdown isn't an inconvenience, it's a crisis. In parts of Africa, the Middle East, and Australia, it isn't a novelty truck, it's essential infrastructure. Mechanics who've worked on this platform for decades point to the same qualities every time: a heavy-duty frame, mechanical components built with margin to spare, and a design philosophy that treats comfort as optional and survival as mandatory. This is why the Hilux doesn't just top mechanic recommendation lists. Plenty of mechanics have bought one themselves, sight unseen, purely on reputation. Final verdict: 10 trucks, different decades, different manufacturers, different engines. Look past the badges and they share one thing. None of them were the fastest or the flashiest. They were the simplest, built with fewer ways to fail, and owners who cared enough to keep them going one oil change at a time. That's the real answer. A truck doesn't last 30 years by accident. It lasts because someone built it to be repaired, not replaced. So which one would you trust to reach 500,000 miles? And which legendary truck do you think we left off this list? Drop it in the comments. If you enjoyed this one, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next list covers the engines mechanics say should have failed years ago and somehow never did.